Yerp! Army Rangers need a buff. Let's talk about it. Alright guys, so recently on fucking Reddit caused a little bit of a stir with a post I brought up about Army Rangers needing a buff. I feel like it was a very civil conversation on Reddit. No one overstepped boundaries or tried to, persuade anyone's opinion by saying, derogatory comments or anything like that. Everything was on topic. There was nothing that was, like defamation or whatever. It's pretty cool. Every single person obviously just read the post and like really enjoyed it. Everyone was talking about it, like everything I talked about, and it was really cool. So, big shout out to the Reddit community for being able to read and all that shit. Appreciate you guys. So, for my non-Reddit folk, we need to make a video here to go over and talk about my my thought process on the Army Rangers. So I'm just gonna go through it line by line here, and then throw in my little 2 cents and shit. So the overview: we have the Ranger Line squads, which are 80 points. They are meant to represent the premier light infantry of the U.S. Army, but in game they underperform compared to both cheaper and similarly priced airborne units like the Airborne Plus and combat engineers. Despite their elite status, they offer less utility, weaker CQB performance, and inferior anti-armor capability. So the current issue with the Rangers, Airborne Plus, they're 85 points. They have superior range with the NGSW rifles for 600 meters. And with the M3E1 MAWs, they have 600 millimeters of penetration and 600 meters of range. The combat engineers are 80 points. They come with M4s, small Ds, and shotguns by default, which are extremely effective in close quarters. And then you have the mech engineers, which are 50 points. They're a budget squad with small Ds, M4s, and shotguns. It's a great value unit. It's not as effective as the engineers, but the value you get out of them is better than the value you get out of the small D Rangers, comparatively for like point by point. So with the Rangers at 80 points, both variants, they lack smoke. Let me clarify here. They lack ingress and egress smokes, right? So getting in smokes and getting out smokes. They have one smoke. I should have clarified that in the post. It was a little bit confusing. I apologize for that. I did write that weird, so my bad. They lack smoke, mobility, and fall short in either CQB or standoff fights. The Raw's variant is underwhelming compared to the Maw's armed Airborne Plus, right? So, what Rangers should be. They should be elite, flexible, and mobile, the gold standard for U.S. light infantry. Right now, they're strictly worse than non-special forces in nearly every role, despite their cost. So, my proposed buffs on how to fix them, right? You add 2 smoke grenades for both variants. Basic utility, expected from elite infantry, helps with breaching, repositioning, and urban fights. A big thing that people were talking about in the comments was that, why should only Army Rangers get it? No other special forces gets this. That's not the point. I think that every special forces should get it, Russian and US. If you're special forces, I think you should get 2 smoke grenades, point blank period. I think it's a blanket buff for all SOF that should be introduced, right? It's something that makes them different and a little bit stronger, right? Without kind of going too crazy with it. And then my second proposed buff was to add underbarrel shotguns to the small D variant, which is currently lacking any CQB lethality. The underbarrel M26 MASS would give them the real fighting capability indoors without turning them into full breachers. The reason why I chose the M26 was just because it's not in-game, and it'd be cool to show that off in-game. I think it would look cool. The Rangers, in real life, they don't use it. In real life, they do use the Remington M870 and the Mossberg 590 Alpha 1s. So either of those two would be cool in there as well. I just think the underbarrel would look cool, so it's just something different. And also, you could also model it to be less effective, so it's not as strong as the other shotguns. Maybe make it so that this shotgun can't target helicopters or something like that, like how all the other shotguns can. And then my third proposed buff is to buff the sprint ability. So these are special forces, and the buff of sprint ability should be for all special forces, period. Right? I don't know what the exact numbers are, but just hear me out. Let's say the sprint cooldown, let's say it's 45 seconds. Sprint down, it's like 30 seconds. So it's a little bit, but significantly, or it's a little bit, but noticeably, I should say, better than regular sprint. There's no reason that a special forces soldier should not be sprinting either faster or, longer than some fucking fat 18-year-old who's in a fucking IFV. There's no reason for it. It doesn't make sense. And that, of course, that goes over to the Russian Special Forces as well. They should be running faster than their Motor Shrelky dudes, and like Green Beret should be running faster. It just Special Forces dudes should be running faster or be able to run longer. It's just point blank period. It just passes the common sense test, and it just makes it feel right. So it slightly increases the speed. Rangers feel more mobile than mech rifles, for example, and right now they just aren't. The ROS variant. So this is a cool little thing, I think. It's not too big of a buff. So number 4 is for the ROS variant, or the quote-unquote standoff, even though they're not really standoff. Extend the M320 grenade launcher range out by 50 meters, reflected by the use of the upgraded optics for the M320. I'm airborne infantry myself in real life, and we have them. So if we have them, then the Rangers definitely fucking have them. That's why I brought it up. If the devs are watching this and you guys need like a picture of it to add into the game, I can send you a picture of it for sure. Just buff its range from 300 meters to 350. I think that's a fair little buff, and it makes the Rangers look just a little bit stronger than what they currently are. It improves the squad soft target utility. It gives the ROS variant better identity as a flexible infantry suppression unit. Just a little bit, but not too much. It helps differentiate itself from the Airborne Plus Superior Moz loadout, which has, again, the 600 millimeters of pen and the 600 meters of range, versus the ROS 450 millimeters of pen and 500 meters of range. In conclusion, in my opinion here, these buffs would make the Rangers viable without overpowering them. Smoke grenades, underbarrel shotguns, and better sprintability, and a small M320 range buff would help both variants stand out and finally feel like the elite adaptable force they're meant to be. Right now, they're overpriced and outclassed. These are my thoughts, and then what are your thoughts on them? I also gotta say, as well, like, this is just 4 things that went off the top of my head. If they add in just one of these, it'll make them better. They're all just blanket buffs. So even if they add in only the smokes and it gives the Rangers the ability to ingress and egress, it makes it a lot better. But I remember I had games where it's like I had Rangers who were supposed to be the premier, light infantry of the US, who are designed and specialized in raids. They went up in a building to building fight from it was about like 100 meters away against the Russian in Giverny, and it was 2 full squads. The Rangers killed one of their guys, and then they killed 7 of my Rangers. And it was a straight up rare 1v1. There was no other outstanding circumstances. I think we could find that video somewhere, but hopefully Mr. Editor could put it up there on the screen to show us. So of course, like, subscribe, comment, all that fun shit. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you want all the buffs? Do you want none of the buffs? Do you have your own buffs? Do you think something else? It's just the Ranger line squads feel so unimportant that like you can replace them with anything. It kind of feels like a throw pick by picking them. So when that's the case, that's when the buffs are a requirement. And that's why I brought it up like this. Again, I respect everybody's opinions. If you disagree or agree, let me know, and we have a respectful discussion about this. I appreciate all of you, love all of you. Keep in mind too, if you want Broken Arrow for free, we are still running the event, or the giveaway rather, hosted by or funded by Fern. The next drawing is going to be on Wednesday, so maybe that's tomorrow, depending on when this fucking video comes out. But yeah, all you have to do is subscribe to the YouTube and then join the Discord. That's it, and you have a chance. You have a chance of winning Broken Arrow, the Vanguard Edition, for free. So appreciate all you guys. And then here are the shout outs for the Patreons. Shout out to Something, who once convinced a tornado to braid her hair on its way through town. Big props to Agor, who can sneeze in a binary code and accidentally rebooted his supercomputer. Applause for Fern, who taught his shadow to do the moonwalk and now it's TikTok famous. Major respect to JTT Risky, who can microwave popcorn just by staring at the bag intensely. Cheers to Lufty, who once arm wrestled a hurricane and let it win out of sportsmanship. Standing ovation for Maverick, who can parallel park a UFO in a single attempt, no probes required. Big ups to Rickson037, who once convinced the GPS to recalculate its life choices. Kudos to Rich, who can solve a Sudoku puzzle using only interpretive dance moves. Salute to Scar, who taught a school of fish to form his face during synchronized swimming competitions. And props to Snigglepenny, who once baked a loaf of bread so big, ducks now migrate just to get a crumb. Love you all. Have a good one. Peace.